This worksheet contains 27 daily affirmations designed to command away negative emotions. But for someone in deep pain, repeating phrases like, "I choose to be happy right now," adds a second layer of struggle. The suffering remains, joined by pressure to perform a recovery mindset. When the affirmations fail to change their internal reality, the person feels they've failed the process itself. They build a brittle facade of fake confidence to hide that perceived failure from the group. Compulsory confidence functions as a trap of performance. It holds together in the safety of a workbook, but it tends to shatter the moment it encounters the friction of the real world. In a live peer-to-peer recovery session, the goal is to take those facades apart. These rooms replace isolated worksheets with unscripted interaction. Facilitators use a bullseye inversion. Self-worth is the starting point for growth, providing the ground a participant stands on. Once established, identity and purpose lock into place around it. Action becomes an expression of that worth, not a way to earn it. Dave sits in the back of one of these rooms, not sharing or listening in the traditional sense. He is meticulously taking notes, analyzing the flaws in the facilitator's arguments. This hyper-intellectual behavior is Dave's architectural buffer. It's a defense mechanism that allows him to process the room's data while remaining safe from the room's emotion. To bypass this buffer, the facilitator shifts the group into the 10-word body diagram, a physical exercise that forces participants out of abstract theories. Dave is asked to fill a human silhouette with 10 words describing himself. Despite his intellectual armor, the labels he chooses are harsh. He writes that he is stubborn, old, ignorant, and weak. The exercise enters a compression phase. The facilitator instructs Dave to strip away circumstantial labels until he finds a single, load-bearing trait. Dave crosses out the derogatory words one by one. At the core, he lands on a single explanatory word: curious. Dave realizes that his identity doesn't have to be a tally of his failures. Instead, it can be defined by the underlying drive that keeps him looking for answers, despite his contradictions. The room dynamic shifts again as the group turns its collective gaze onto Dave through a peer feedback exercise. The group sees through his notebook. They label him as knowledgeable, but they also call him avoidant, identifying the intellect he uses as a shield. Dave's intellectual isolation makes it difficult to counter his internal voice of shame. By accepting the group's feedback, he borrows their eyes, using their testimony of his actions to balance his own self-perception. Another participant, William, provides the physical evidence for this concept. He stops talking about being teachable and physically prostrates himself on the floor, using his body to show the group his willingness to learn. When vulnerability is witnessed and turned into physical action, it creates a relational artifact. It provides a record of behavior that is harder for a person's internal shame to dismantle than a simple verbal affirmation. The facilitator gives Dave a final challenge: deliver 60 seconds of truth to the group. The rules are strict. Dave cannot use any analytical frameworks, footnotes, or intellectual buffers. He has to speak without his notes. For the first time, Dave stops the performance. He drops the analytical shield and admits to the group that he is afraid. He discovers that he doesn't need to diagnose the room to be part of it. Simply being present and unmediated is enough. By letting himself be seen exactly as he is, Dave finally operates from the center of the bullseye. He is standing on the ground of his own worth, rather than performing to earn it. Growth happens when the scaffolding comes down. When the architecture drops, a person is finally free to be witnessed in the unscripted reality of their own life.